BeastNet Podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hi everybody, it's Lisa from BeastNet Podcast, and tonight we're talking with Julie. Julie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on right now?
So much exciting stuff. Lots of projects in the work for the OCR world. In 2 weeks, we have the OCR Triad, which is the inaugural Triad weekend. And what the Triad is 3 events in one weekend. We have the Mark Ballas Wicked Trail Run on Friday. On Saturday morning is the Scenic City Mud Run, and Saturday afternoon is the Endo Challenge, which can best be described as an OCR physical event meets an escape room, military style.
That's amazing. Is this the first year for this, or has it been going on for a while?
The Scenic City Mud Run has been going on for a while, and Mark Ballas, of course, has operated his driven Wicked Trail race for years. But this is the first time we've collaborated together, and this will be the first Endo Challenge.
Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. And then you have another one coming up in September, right?
In October, we have October 10th is the Celtic Warrior Challenge, and it is in Meridian, Mississippi, at an unbelievable venue there, Bonita Lakes. It's 3,300 acres with, I want to say, a 200-acre lake in the middle. It's just phenomenal. I'm so excited to work on that because the terrain is going to be unexpected for sure.
Oh, that's so awesome. What made you guys decide to do the Triad?
The Triad was kind of a collaboration when, Mark and I I've ran his races. I love his style and what he's done, and we're good friends. And when, after the Scenic City Mud Run last year, we just kind of tossed around some ideas and decided to pair it together and then add an endurance event and call it a Triad, and gives people the opportunity to earn a little bit more bling in one weekend. Of course, when we put this together, we had no idea COVID was going to haunt us. But we're pushing forward. So I think that those that make it out to the event are really going to be glad that they did.
That's fantastic. And then the Celtic one in October, how's that going with everything with COVID? Are you guys still set to go? Any surprises or anything going on there?
I know, right? So we went down last week and met with the mayor, Mr. Percy Bland of Meridian. Phenomenal support out of that city. I've never worked with a host city that has been more supportive. We have the go-ahead 100% from the city. We're on city property. But like I said, we have the go ahead from the city to move forward. I actually had a conference call with them again today, just about the safety measures that they would like to see in place. They've had several successful events of large gatherings in outdoor venues there in Lauderdale County in the past couple months. So, and it's been successful. They've had no issues come from those. So we're really looking forward to having our event down there, and they are too. They're looking forward to having OCR in Meridian. They've never hosted an event, so they're really looking forward to having the community there.
That is fantastic. What are you guys having to do for, I guess, I want to say social distancing, or how's that playing a factor in everything? I mean, races are all about it's the festival and hanging out with their friends.
Yes.
So are you guys having to change a lot, or?
Not a ton. I mean, I feel like we have a really good balance between keeping those racers who may have a compromised immune system or may want to keep their distance, keeping them happy and healthy, but also not creating such a disturbance that people are like, oh man, this sucks. I don't want to be here,
Yeah.
our title sponsor here in Chattanooga for the OCR weekend is a hospital. So they were responsible for handing down our COVID precautions, so to speak. And they will include temperature checks to enter the festival. Of course, that questionnaire we've all answered 1,000 times. Have you been exposed? Do you have a fever? You know, would I be here if I did? Come on. So, and then we'll have some options as well, like drive-through packet pickup, no contact metals, but those won't be required. If you want to pick your packet up on site and you want to receive your medal from a live human putting it on your head, you have that option. So I feel like we've got a good mix of giving people options. You know, there's hand sanitizer everywhere, and we've hired extra cleaning crew and extra staff to make sure that any of the high touch areas are sanitized and very well taken care of as far as cleaning. But we will socially distance the starting gate. You know, if somebody came there, you know, and slept in the bed with this person last night, I'm not gonna tell them they gotta be 6 feet apart. You know, they can start together. They can start with their own team, but I will, you know, just out of respect for racers who have that concern, I definitely do want to offer a 6 foot social distancing between teams. But you know, I've attended one race post COVID, and they made us all stand 6 foot apart, and you know, I laughed because I was like, hey, this, you know, we all traveled to Florida together. We slept in the same bed, you know, but okay. Smaller heats. Last year we had 1,400 racers, and we were doing heats of 75 to 100. This time it'll be closer to 25, heats of 25, a little bit more often. So as a race director, and when you lay out the course, of course, you have to design the course a little bit differently as well to accommodate quicker heat times. So that, you know, one thing we never want is to have a line and an obstacle and any kind of bottleneck on the course. So it's been, you know, I will say it's been very challenging to host an event. It's been very challenging to get all the permits and insurance. Oh my gosh, insurance, you know. They already hate insuring obstacle course races. So you throw a virus in the middle of it, and me wanting to put 1,000 people together, that becomes an issue. But, you know, we could have canceled at any time. I really just felt like this was kind of, we need this. OCR needs this. Our community needs this. The community of Meridian, the community of Chattanooga. We need that tourism money. We need that camaraderie on the course. I see every day on social media, OCR is dead, OCR is dead. And it's not. You know, there are just a lot of large brands that have canceled. Do I understand why they've canceled? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But it's not been easy to forge forward, but you know, here we are doing it. So
yeah, that's interesting that people are saying the OCR is dead. Like, you can almost say that about any sport right now, because nobody's able to, people can't go to baseball or football or basketball games. They can't even go to hockey games. So if those sports can survive, I don't see how obstacle course racing can't survive too. We're just in a really frustrating time, I guess is the best way to put it, because the bigger races are canceling. So a lot of our local races have canceled, but I don't see that as, we're going to move forward with this and still be racing next year. We just have to get through whatever all this is right now. So how are you feeling about when people make that comment that OCR is dead?
Obviously it frustrates me to no end, because, you know, there are a lot of local race directors out here really just busting our tail to put on an event. And, you know, while I support all race brands, you can see, I run everything. I support them all. But, you know, I just don't want people to forget about us. You know, don't forget about the smaller races. They may surprise you. You know, we've got 27 obstacles in a 5K course, and it's 100% completion for competitive. I feel like a lot of people are going to be surprised when they hit that course, because we've got some pretty high fail obstacles this year. And it's gonna challenge them, where they would be surprised that they have met such a challenge in a local event or a smaller event, with 1,500 so people. So it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. And one of the reasons that we've launched the OCRStrong campaign with Chris from Mud Racer and Russ from OCR Buddy was to kind of combat that and to spread a sense of oneness and community and strength among OCR. And that's an exciting project that's up and coming and just launching. So we're really, and BeastNet is a proud sponsor of.
Yes, we are.
So yes, we're thrilled.
I think that's a great thing that you guys started, because it reminds everybody that we are a huge community, and it is OCR strong. There's so many people that have benefited from OCRs, and there are people that want to do them, and it's just like, they're frustrated. They're like, who's gonna be my year? Well, next year can be your year. Just keep training, keep moving forward. And they talk, Spartan talks about, your grit. Well, this is part of our grit. This is part of us pushing through and continuing. And it's like you said, support your local races. If you got a local race where you're at or near where you're at, go support them. If they're still able to operate and put on a race or an event, go support them, because those are the little races support the bigger races, because that's where you start getting people involved. And I'm like, oh, well, if I do this, I can do this. So OCR's not dead. We're strong. We're going to come back. So I think OCR Strong is such an incredible mission to push forward and show everybody that we are that strong. But with being a race director, how is it going, putting things on and getting through all the red tape and the, everything that people are like so worried about all this? And how is that going? Like planning a race and, you're mapping out a course and you're putting all that work into it. How does it feel when things just are going awry and pushing through?
Well, one thing just keeps coming to my mind, just overcome. Have we had problems? Absolutely. We've had to change venues. 3 weeks ago, I had to change venues. Went from city property in Chattanooga to privately owned property just across the state line, 20 miles south into Georgia, because the mask mandate in Chattanooga would not allow us to have unmasked racers. And as a racer, I wouldn't want to have to run with a mask on, and I'm not going to ask my participants to do so. So, changing venues within a month of the race was difficult, but it's doable, and we've done it. Putting on this event is different than any other event, because the community of OCR that wants to be back on the course have just really, really rallied behind Jason and myself to help us build the course, help us promote it, help us spread the word. I bet we've had, 20 times the shares on Facebook this go around than we did last time. But it's because nobody else is having events in the Southeast. I know there's some up Ohio and up Northeast, and probably out west, but in the Southeast, we're it. And so the community itself has just been an amazing support system. And so, how can I help? What can I do? We've got racers coming up from Florida and 2 or 3 hour drive this weekend just to help us build our course. And some of these people I just met. So while it has been difficult and we have had to jump through a lot of red tape, I feel like the community sees that we're trying and pushing with everything we've got, and they're kind of rallying behind us at this point to help us get it going, help us with anything and everything. Obviously, last year I mentioned we had 1,400, almost 1,500 racers.
Yeah.
This year we're not going to have that. So when you have, we custom build our race course every year. So it's not the same. It's never going to be the same. None of our courses are ever going to be the same. You're never going to step on a course built by OCRaddix and it look identical to another course. So our budget, oh my gosh, our budget. When you have 1,400 racers versus 500 racers, it's a big difference in budget. And, it's a real hard time to get sponsorship right now, but man, it's unbelievable for both races, for Celtic Warrior Challenge, for the Scenic City Mud Run, the Endo Challenge. So many of my friends in OCR have stepped up and said, hey, I want to help. Mike Couch down in Meridian, Mississippi, and Tammy Burkeen are leading a massive charge down there and rallying those local businesses. And, the pipeline down there is a great sponsor. Berserker Brew has come on board to sponsor. Legendborn. There's so many of our friends in OCR that are saying, hey, we want to help. We want to lift you guys up. And whether it be a financial contribution or simply showing up or helping build, it's just an amazing support system, and we couldn't do it without that.
That's phenomenal to hear that. I know over here on the West Coast, it seems like everything has been canceled. I think there's something going on over towards Seattle-ish, like north of Seattle. And it's like a 2-mile little mud run. And I'm so ecstatic about it. It's like, I get to get muddy. It's been it's been almost a year since I've been able to race. And so it's like my soul is just craving that. It's the racing, it's seeing your family, it's seeing people just start getting into it. So it was great to see a little local race pushing through and being able to have an event. But I think the South is the only place right now that's having any kind of races going on. And, I wish I could find a way to get out there just on the simple fact, like, oh my gosh, you guys are racing. Can I come?
Absolutely.
I think that's the roughest part about this year is watching all the races have to get postponed. The race I was supposed to direct this year, they ended up postponing till next year because, well, we're just a complete mess on the West Coast right now. So,
hey, honey, I mean, we're not killing it down here in Georgia by any means. So, I don't know of anywhere that's not a mess. I mean, and that's the positive part, are that we have wonderful venues that we're working with. The Cowboy Farm there in Rock Spring, it's a privately held farm. They are wonderful to us. They have been a great help to us. Again, the Bonita Lakes in Meridian they have been over backwards for anything we need. And I can't wait for people to go and experience that city. It's so full of culture. It's so rich in music and history. And I love to visit Meridian. I just love going, and I'd never heard of it.
That's so awesome. Like, I love seeing this happening. I love seeing the passion and the drive that the cities are showing and all the sponsors and the willingness of volunteers. Like, if we can just keep that going, which I'm sure we will, as soon as people start realizing, oh my gosh, races are actually happening next year, I think you're going to see a huge increase in people volunteering because they've missed it so much. They want to go and support and help build and bring it back to where we were and push forward to where we could go, which is so exciting to see that people still want to, that drive is still there to volunteer and be a part of and race. So that's absolutely incredible. The whole mask mandate, like I've thought about that. I'm like, well, you're supposed to wear a mask. Like, that kind of defeats the purpose if you're racing, because all the mud and everything else, like those masks aren't going to stay sanitary. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And I joke with a few people that obstacle course racers, we might have an immunity to this thing on some aspects, like the amount of dirt and questionable things that we actually, yes, without realizing it. I think our immune systems are getting kind of up there.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
How did you get into race directing?
Oh, the $1 million question. I was an executive for a marketing firm for 17 years, and long story short, became a single mom, couldn't travel and work as much. And so I found myself in a midlife crisis of career change, and we started OCRaddix as just a little race team. Jason Fi is my partner, and he and I started it together so that racers from other gyms could race together, because nobody wanted to race on somebody else's gym name, you know.
Yeah.
And it just grew and grew and grew to where we started training people, and then we started scholarshiping athletes, and we took a huge group to an event, and I think we had 60 to 80 people. I can't remember. Anyway, there was a ton of us. You know, we're all matching, and we set up our tents, and you know, we obviously make a presence. And the owner of the race said, "Who's in charge here?" And my first thought was, "Great, what'd y'all do? Who did what?" You know, this is city property. You can't have alcohol. Who broke out the alcohol? You know, something of that nature. But in reality, what he wanted was help from the OCR community, and we were lucky enough to be able to provide that. And my first year as the race director was a volunteer. I volunteered. We quadrupled, no, not quite quadrupled, tripled numbers over the previous year, and we're under budget, and I fell in love with the project. It worked out very well. I
Hi.
never shut up.
So I lost you when he came over and said who was in charge.
Oh my gosh. I literally never shut up. Okay. So I'll start over from that point. The race owner came over and asked who was in charge, and my first thought was, great, who did what, you know?
Yeah.
But he was looking for somebody to help in putting on the events. They are a marathon and triathlon company. They do a phenomenal job at that, but they'd never been on an obstacle race course. So they inherited this event as a timing chip company and race production company from the previous owners. And they just needed some help. And so I worked on the project the first year with them, kind of as a consultant. And then as soon as the event was over, I knew I was hooked. I knew I was in love with race directing. They were thrilled with the performance that I had brought, and they allowed us to design the course. They allowed us to do every aspect of it for the most part. And Jason did a phenomenal job with the course and the course layout. So they asked us immediately, before we even tore the previous course down, they asked us immediately to come back the next year. And so you know, that's how I got into it. And once that event happened and it was a successful event, we had huge growth in numbers. We had huge marketing efforts out all over the place, and that grew our numbers. And then just having such a great team and support system in OCR, that got a lot of registrations for us. So from there, it just kind of spiraled, and I was talking to other race friends or other folks that had, you know, it's hilarious. I got a call 2 days ago from a guy in Dothan, Alabama, and he has 450 acres and he wants to host a mud run. And you know,
that's fantastic.
He is a cowboy. He rides bulls. Doesn't have a clue, but hey, you know,
that's great.
We'll do it.
Yeah, because it's kind of like with people calling you and contacting you like that, you're pushing into areas that don't really have a lot of OCRs. So it's just spreading the love.
That's right. And that's why we selected Lower Mississippi for the Celtic Warrior Challenge inaugural event, is because they have nothing. There's nothing anywhere near them. I think there's a few races in Gadsden that I've been to that are phenomenal races, but even Gadsden is a long drop for them. So that's a great central location. It'll pull from Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the Panhandle. It's just a great central location where there are no events, and the OCR community is not massive there. Like, here in Chattanooga, Atlanta, we have a very large OCR community, but there they don't. So we're looking forward to spreading that. And one of the ways we're doing it is we had a group from Mississippi come up last weekend and get their certification to teach be obstacle coaches. We hosted that class here, and they all got certified, and so they can take all that information back to their gym and teach OCR class in their gym. So it's just my passion is an overall promotion of the sport of OCR. Of course, I'm partial to my brands, but I will support every OCR endeavor and every OCR brand out there, just because the sport itself is my passion.
I can totally agree with you on that one.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
I can't imagine my life without OCR. I want to see it grow even more than it already has. I look at the different races, that are bigger companies, and I see where their races are at, and it's like, well, dang, if we can just spread it even more, you're going to grow. And it gets people moving and off the couch. You don't have to be an elite athlete. You can be just starting out and still race and enjoy it and have fun. And I think that's the best part of this community. And once you get to know people, they support you no matter what. You have a new family with OCR. Like, you can be going down the road and somebody sees your Spartan shirt and you hear a roo out the window, or,
Yes.
they see your shirts and they want to know, oh, where was this? What is this all about? And, people start getting excited because they hear about it and they're like, oh, well, I never thought. Well, come do it. So it's incredible that there's that interest in the South to have more races in the states that don't have anything. And what an incredible way that, through your passion, you're building it down there. And that's so great to hear. People, we've driven 14 hours just to go to Montana, to race. So I can see, like, if you're closer to a race, like a few hour drive isn't that big of a deal. Our states are so spread out and so big that, 14 hours, oh, it's all good. It's not that far. It's kind of like, go ahead.
I think the furthest we've been is we went up to Tri-State, New Jersey for the Ultra a couple years ago. That was quite a long trip. We did fly, but which was tough, because flying to do an Ultra with all the stuff you need for the Ultra was tough. The toughest part was getting back through security in the airport with the belt buckle. We got stopped. So, there was no confiscating that belt buckle. I can tell you that.
No. That belt buckle is like, that's my goal next year, is to go to Dallas and do the Ultra in Dallas. I want a buckle so bad. It's like, oh, I just want that buckle. I have flown to Sacramento, and I was getting a trifecta that weekend. So I had my medals, going down wasn't a big deal, but coming back, like, they're like, we need to get into your bag. I'm like, it's just medals. And the lady checks it and she's like, we've had so many of these today. And I'm like, well, God, you're going to have a lot more.
Yep. Absolutely.
With the triad coming up, you got the trail race the day before Friday. What is the trail race consisting of? Like, how is the terrain for the trail?
So Mark can, this terrain on this venue is a lot flatter than our previous venue. However, Mark can find torture in any terrain. It doesn't matter. There's a creek, there's a pond, there's a lot of mud. There's a lot of low-lying areas. It's a horse farm, so there's other stuff.
I know how that goes.
There are 22 amazingly beautiful horses in the main pasture where most of the events are going to take place. And, there is some interesting terrain that will be utilized. The trail race is a 10K, so be just a little over 6 miles. And, don't expect just a run through the woods by any means.
That's good. That's a good thing to know. And then with the obstacle course the next day, what's that consisting of?
Oh my gosh, we're so excited about the mud run because we've got 10 new obstacles this year compared to last year. Last year we had 18 obstacles. We have 25 this year. So 3 of last year's obstacles went to the wayside and were replaced with new ones. And we've got some brand new obstacles that in all of my racing career and Jason's racing career, we've never seen. So that is exciting because it's innovative. It's different. We've had some wonderful help from our friend Aaron Frank and Joey McGlamory out of Atlanta, and Aaron's from Florida on helping with the build to make it possible to be able to do more and more obstacles that we are able to build ourselves. But Jason is typically known for having over the top hard events or obstacles. So we have to, that there's a little clash there. Well, I'm not your elite athlete. I'm never gonna be a podium girl, and that's cool. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to complete my own course. So there's a couple of obstacles in there this year I'm not real sure I can complete. So it is exciting for me though, because it's exciting for OCR people to come who have ran, have multiple trifectas and multiple Savage syndicates, and they've done all these different courses, and then they step out here to this local course and they're like, whoa, what is that? What is the Gorilla Gauntlet? What? Yeah, it's called the Gorilla Gauntlet. So I think when they step out there and see that, they're going to be really excited. Jason will kill me if I give too much of it away, but the Gorilla Gauntlet is a rig and it is very long. I will say that. He has a real sadistic way of putting obstacles back to back to know how to wear you out pretty good. Bars is a new obstacle for us this year. It's gonna be a total surprise. It's not, again, unlike anything I've seen. That was a mind creation with Aaron and Jason together, kind of put that one together. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm really excited to see the new obstacles. They're fun.
That sounds so exciting. And then the Sunday, the event that's like an escape room, is that kind of like the surprise at the end? Like
it is. So it is Saturday afternoon. So it'll start Saturday after the last heat, and it will consist of teams of 10. And I'll give you a little bit. So if anybody has watched and listened all the way to this point, they're going to get a little tidbit. So here they go. It is as much mind as it is physical. There are 8 missions. Of those 8, 4 are critical thinking, 4 are just physical workhorse obstacles. They will be, their mission is to defuse a bomb. They're given 8 different challenges, and at the end of each challenge, they will collect an asset that will help them to use the code to defuse the bomb. But it's obviously not going to be clear cut. We're not going to give you a code, You're going to have to figure it out. Will there be burpees? Of course. Will there be heavy carries? Of course. Will there be running? Not much. Not a whole lot of running. I mean, we've put these triad racers through 6 miles on Friday and 3 grueling miles with obstacles on Saturday. So this is going to be more of a physical exercise component than a running component. And you have a team. You have your team of 10, which is not predetermined. You don't get to choose your team. So you may know them, you may not. And the team aspect is going to play a large part in each mission and each challenge, and working together to figure out how to, for example, you've got to figure out how to get this asset, I'll call it, that weighs a lot from point A to point B. And you're given a box of gear. Half of it you don't need. Half of it you won't use. But there are some golden tickets in there that if you put it together right, you're going to move that a whole lot faster than all the rest of the teams. It's going to be exciting. I'm really, really excited about that part of the event.
That sounds like so much fun. And when you put people together in teams where, like, you know, you don't necessarily know each other, you don't know your strengths and your weaknesses, you got to figure that out. And you have to put your ego aside and be willing to work as a team with these complete strangers. And that's absolutely phenomenal, because you're getting to know, you get to know new people, and it's that mental check too, like you said. So that's so awesome to hear. I can't wait to hear more about it after it's all said and done. The Celtic Warrior Challenge, how's that playing out? And are any tidbits or surprises with that coming up?
Well, yes, of course. So we were very fortunate to be able to build and leave some permanent obstacles there at the park. So anytime you can leave permanent obstacles, that means they can be bigger, they can be stronger, they can be tough and tall. So we are in the design process of a few new pieces after we got that information today. As a matter of fact, we got that okay today. So there are going to be a lot of climbing, a lot of utilizing the terrain as obstacles. We will utilize the lake. It's amazing. The last time I was down there, we got in and played a little bit in the lake and just kind of checked it out. One of the things that we bring, we definitely leave a property better than we found it. So we've been in the process of kind of dredging the bottom of the lake where we may possibly have a rope climb out of the lake, but there was some junk, some concrete blocks, that kind of thing on the bottom of the lake. So we're digging all that out, making sure that, that it's safe for our racers, but also we're taking out garbage from the lake. Expect over 5 miles from that event. Definitely over 25 obstacles. It will be pretty grueling. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a little bit more grueling of a race than what we typically put on, just because of the terrain and what we have to work with, and it's amazing. There is talk of a triad happening there as well. So that's pretty exciting. We got the go ahead from one piece. Now we've got to get the go ahead from the other side. But we've had so much response to this triad. People want to come and do 3 events in a weekend. If you're coming to the East Coast, you're going to want to do it all.
Yes, exactly.
And, yeah. So we've had a great response. It's the medals are going to be amazing. The things are huge, and they're handcrafted by a company that is called the Opportunity Center. They employ special needs adults, and that's very close to my heart. So, the triad is a little bit more expensive of a product for us to put on, just because those medals are so expensive, but I love them. And I think everybody else, once they see them, are just going to flip their lid and have to have one. So I am entertaining the idea of adding the triad weekend down at the Celtic Warrior Challenge.
That is fantastic. And I love to see that, like, your companies are bringing in like multiple events in one weekend. I've seen some of the other companies doing that. So it's kind of like a trifecta, but it's different. And I think it gives more variety. Like, yeah, you run the same race course 3 times at 3 different lengths, and yeah, that's challenging. I'm not going to lie on that. But to have totally different events, you know, like the trail race and the enduro part and the mud run, like those are 3 totally different things that you are pushing yourself to the limits. And that's so phenomenal to hear that you're putting that on, and you're switching it up a little bit. You're keeping it OCR, but you're adding more things to it. And I think that gives all of the athletes a chance to push themselves a little bit further too. Like, everybody's so focused on the obstacles and running. Well, trail racing isn't easy either. And when you add unexpected twists to it, you know, mud is not that fun to run through, just because I feel like it's, you know, you gotta make sure your shoes are tight so you don't lose your shoes. Like, there's so much that's added into it. So how fantastic to hear. I can't wait to find out if you end up doing a triad weekend there, because that's so awesome.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Is 2021 starting to shape up a little bit for you too? Are you looking into next year?
Yes. So I'll kind of give you a little I think I can do this. I think I can tell you. I'm going to. In 2021, we're going to launch the OCRaddix series of races. So what that will be is they will be different race brands, but they will be all brands that we either are part of, have a course build, help with marketing, because I mean, we are full service as far as we can do everything turnkey, or we can just help design a course, whatever it is that's needed. So we're going to partner with all these different race brands to create the OCRaddix series. And when you complete 6 of the 12 races, you'll get a special, it's going to be a beautiful OCRaddix medal hanger made by the same people who made our medals. So, I mean, it's just, I'm super excited about that, because people who have ran our courses, if they've either been to an event that I was directing or that Jason was building, that they know that they're going to get their money's worth. So I think that's going to be exciting for 2021.
That is super exciting. Oh my gosh, how great. I'm looking forward to you guys launching that and announcing more of the details on that, because I love that you are giving people something to look forward to. And I think the race brands need to really push that too. Give your racers and all of us something to look forward to. I think people are getting really down and out because they don't have, like, their whole season's been taken from them due to the virus and everything else. So to have something to look forward to, that OCR can't die if they have something to look forward to, and let alone all the people that are like, no, it's still going. So how awesome to hear that happening next year. And of course, just come to us. We'll help promote that.
Yay.
BeastNet will be all over that.
That's right. And y'all better be over here. You better be getting to Texas or Georgia or somewhere.
That is in my plans. I just got to figure it out. You know, once more races start dropping their dates and everything else, then, oh yeah, I happily start traveling out that way.
And that, you know, the most frustrating part are the travel restrictions.
Yeah.
Because we've got, you know, I've got several good friends up in the New York area that can't travel. You guys, I think you guys are on travel ban too, aren't you? Or self-quarantine for 14 days, whatever.
Yes and no. I haven't heard too much about this date. People around here are traveling around here because they're frustrated. And I think people are ready to move on with their lives, even though this is going on. So yeah, there's limitations. Like, you can camp, but you can camp, but you can't do this. You can do this, but you can't do this. And it's like, it changes daily. So I really don't know. Like, I guess if you're in a situation where you probably should quarantine for 14 days, then yeah, you should, but there's not mandated that I know of. But there's a lot of places where it is mandated. You have to quarantine for 14 days and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the travel bans are they're sucking right now. Definitely. They're putting it's like a thorn in your side. Like, oh, I got all these plans. I'm going to go do this. And then, yeah, no, you can't go do that. So it's a thorn in everybody's side. And I think even the people that would love to go out there this year, it's like, well, I could, but what are my repercussions if I go? How's it going to reflect when I come back and try to go to work, or I'd say school, but that's all online. So that ain't happening.
Oh, heck no, honey. My kids are there. They are going full time going. Tomorrow's our first day of high school. But the little one has been in school since Monday, and I couldn't be happier.
Oh my God, I need to come out there.
Yes.
It's all online, and it's like pulling. I got a 16-year-old and pulling teeth with her. Is like, you have to be here. You have to. And I get the know-it-all eye roll sometimes. So.
Yeah, they gave us the option. I was like, oh no, they're going back. I am not a teacher. My kids did not learn anything during digital learning at all. So yeah, no, they're going back. And I think it's a lot different here than it is out there. And in other areas, I mean, our gyms have been open for months. Thankfully, our gym here, our local gym, Our House Studios, who is the home gym for OCRaddix, she's actually offered to let anyone that is traveling here for the event camp there, indoors, obviously, but we have 14,000 square feet. I mean, you can socially distance all day in that space.
Yeah.
And we have showers, we have everything you could need except for a stove there in the gym. So that's been extremely helpful for out of town guests, because they can bring, if they want privacy, they can bring a tent. If not, bring an air mattress and just throw them in there. We'll have a big OCR slumber party. And it's free.
That's great.
So a lot of racers that have either lost their job or lost funds due to COVID are having a hard time with travel expenses. And so that's been a huge plus to some of our racers that wanted to come, but $100 on a hotel per night and flights, gas, whatever it is. Flights are cheap. I flew last weekend. It was dirt cheap. So
yeah, I've noticed that flights are dirt cheap, because I've looked at flying out and meeting some of the more Heart Than Scars people who are traveling to the Celtic Warrior, and I'm just like, oh, that is tempting.
They will all be, they're coming up this weekend for my build, to help with my build, but they will all be at both events, Scenic City Mud Run and the Celtic Warrior Challenge. They're very, very close friends of mine. They're our benefactor for the Celtic Warrior Challenge. More Heart Than Scars is. So yes, incredible. You should just come on out.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to squiggle that in. I don't know if my boss will like me taking another few days off, but I'll work around it.
Come on and fly into Atlanta. We'll get somebody to pick you up.
So with the Triad, the Celtic Warrior, how's the rest of you? Are you kind of done after that, starting planning for next year, and where you see it all going?
Sort of, yes. As far as OCR planning or race event planning, yes, we'll be planning for 2021, but there's so many projects that we're in the works, planning and building, that are not necessarily on course projects, but they're part of OCR community. I mentioned the OCRStrong project. That's going to be a huge thing for the third and fourth quarter of the year. I'm excited to be working with Legend Born on some new product launches for training gear. Obviously their line of OCR jerseys is phenomenal, and I love it, but there's not a lot of need for it right now if a lot of racers aren't on the course. But we're all still training, we're all still working out, we all still want to support our brands and support our teams. And anybody that's ever worn Legend Board knows how wonderful it is. So
I love my one jersey. I want more.
I might know a girl. But we're really excited about launching some training line products that are going to retail for a little less than half of what the jerseys retail for, but you still got that full all over sublimation look that is just, I mean, our jersey, the OCR jerseys that they've produced for us are just killer. I mean, we don't go anywhere without somebody stopping us and talking to us about our jerseys because they look so good. So that's a big project for the third and fourth quarter too.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that. Just a lot going on in OCR period for me through the end of the year.
That's fantastic to hear, because that's, again, that's pushing people to realize, hey, there's still stuff going on. You still got to train. That's so fantastic. I love hearing about everything that's coming up. How can people find you on like social media, getting all the details, like for the races? What are all where can everybody find you right now?
Well, my address is OCRaddix, ADDIX.com will have a link to all of our projects on it. It will have Celtic Warrior, it will have Scenic City Mud Run, the OCR Triad weekend. It has pictures from last year's events. There's a Legend Born link on there, OCRStrong link. Obviously, we're on Facebook and Instagram as well, Scenic City Mud Run and the Celtic Warrior Challenge. Where I think I already said we're on Instagram too. So you can get to our registration site through any of those. You can also get to it through my personal Instagram link tree. It's Jules_OCRaddix, JULES_OCRaddix. So, if you can't find me, I don't know what to tell you. We're everywhere.
That is fantastic. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time because I know it's late where you're at. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about everything. And I'm so excited to see and hear how the events go for you, because I think it's a very positive sign of OCR thriving and coming back from all of this.
Absolutely. We everybody thinks I'm crazy for doing it. They do. And I've heard that 1,000 times. But at the same time, I've also heard for every, I can't believe you're doing this, I've heard 10, I'm so glad you're doing this. And, really feel like if we push through this and we can have some successful events and keep our racers safe, that it'll really have, I think 2021 will have a place for us for sure.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you have a wonderful night, and I'll definitely be talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.